Yeah, look, I guess like a lot of people, your new stance looks so different. And I guess my question is why? Why have you made the change?
Well, but the really simple answer is to keep me side on. I think the keys for batting are getting your feet into a position where you can hit the ball as hard as you can. And for me, the key to that is my back foot staying really side on, which is something I used to speak to you a lot about when you played as well. And my tendency is, particularly in one-day cricket, or if the ball's swinging, so in red ball cricket, is to turn my hip to face the bowler, which then my hands would lead out or would just get me into a lot of trouble. So it's just something I've been tinkering with to try and make sure that my back foot stays as side on as possible.
Just go through the process. Take your stance and tell us what's going through your head.
Well, it's simply about so the where I get into trouble is when my front foot moves too early, and locks me off. So if I stand normally in a traditional batting stance, I've always moved back and across with my back foot, but then that takes the weight of my body across the crease, and I find, particularly if the ball's swinging or with a bit of pace, my front foot would then go the same way. To then access the ball, I would have to be out in front of my body, or I'd get hit on the pad. So one of the ways I've tried to combat that is to, originally I think in that, if you look at the older footage, was just to start a little bit closed off and simply that one step got me into that position. But I have found, particularly when the ball's swinging, red ball cricket, that I still look to cover, and I'm still getting myself into trouble. So by just turning that front foot a little bit, I just find that I guess my body has to work so hard to get into the neutral position that I probably don't have time to then move.
Just take up the stance. Right. So how do you see the bowler? What are you looking? You have to turn your shoulders and head.
Turn your head.
It's all right. Is it? But I mean, it's quite.
Buff says most of us only use 2 eyes to watch the bowler. I'm using 3.
Right.
Yeah. So it's simply it's not, and I don't really like looking at it because I understand it's not the prettiest.
It's different.
Thing. It is, but then so I start like that, and then as the bowler's getting close or about to release the ball, I think I make a couple of movements, and I should be in about a reasonably neutral position. But the key, as I said, is making sure that this foot is pointing about towards point. That's the position where I bat my best.
And what would you say about it? It's all right, or it's nuts?
I think the one thing about technique, it's very much individualised. I think the key is being able to have both eyes on the bowler. You need to be able to see the ball. That's all that matters.
And I'm the first to admit that it's nuts, and that's probably why I don't look at it that much. But it's pretty cutthroat international cricket.
A different technique. As you can see, he closes his front foot off a lot, but then before the ball's bowled, he takes his foot away to allow his head to be in a good position. And George feels it's worked for him. Throughout this year, he's looked at his technique. He still wants to play Test cricket. He's looked at ways to improve, and he feels comfortable with this. But it is different to what we've seen.
It is unbelievable. I mean, every time I see it, I think he's a highly intelligent man, and he looks to be overcomplicating the game.
I think stance, grip, it's all about comfort. You watch his back foot. His back foot comes back around before the ball's bowled. So he gets himself into a decent position before the ball's bowled. And I believe the reason why George has done this is to help his offside play. The key is to be nice and still when the ball's being delivered. Watch his back foot here, just come around before the ball's bowled. Squares him up a little better.
Well, he's had a couple of offside drives that went wrong there. It's 2 for 48.